Hi everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new here, and welcome back if you're returning. Today I am going to be talking about my Blu-ray collection. I own 306 Blu-ray and 4K discs in my collection, and in this video I'm doing a tour and I will go through all of them and show you the collection and talk a little bit about each title if I have time. So it's going to be really fun and really interesting, and I'm happy you could join me. So let's get started. This should be interesting. Okay, so my collection is grouped into different sections, and it's kind of based on genre. So we're going to start with the comedy, and there's a few holiday movies in there. And then I have a horror section. Horror is my favorite genre. Honestly, horror and sci-fi are my favorite genres. So I have a pretty decent beginning of a horror collection. And so we'll do comedy, horror, and then the superhero movies. And then we'll move on to the other sections like animation. There's kind of a miscellaneous action, drama, and then sci-fi, and then I have part of it that is ordered by specific directors that I just wanted to highlight. So without further ado, let's get into it here. I'm going to pull them off one chunk at a time and go through each little chunk. So starting with comedy here. That'll just kind of fall over like that. That's okay. Okay, so in the beginning of the comedy section, we have the 40-year-old virgin with Steve Carell. I bought this. I haven't watched it since I bought it, but I have seen it before. I have a lot of 2000s comedies. You'll see. That was kind of a good time for comedy. About a Boy. This is a movie from the early 2000s with Hugh Grant and Nicholas Hoult, and it's based off a Nicholas Sparks book. And I've seen this movie like 4 times. I love it, honestly. It's a very cute movie. There is a romance element with Hugh Grant and Rachel Weisz, but it's more about the relationship between Hugh Grant and the little boy Nicholas Hoult and how they support each other and learn from each other and grow together. It's a really cute movie. I enjoy it. Then we have Anchorman. Classic 2000s comedy with Will Ferrell. Very quotable. It works 60% of the time, all the time, and all those good quotes like that. So Anchorman is a very fun one, for sure. Just the dialogue is full of good lines. And then the Anchorman came with this booklet here called The Many Months of Burgundy. I haven't really looked at that, but it's there for me. Then we have The Breakfast Club, which I rewatched recently. I still think this is a perfect movie. It's really funny. The dialogue is really witty. It hits an emotional punch. There's a real emotional core and depth and backstory to all the characters. And it's just an amazing movie. It's a perfect movie. The Breakfast Club. And then we have Dodgeball, back to the 2000s comedies. I hope you can see that. I'm trying to hold it up for the camera there. Dodgeball with Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn. I also rewatched this recently. Some pretty crazy moments in there, like when they train with wrenches, and I don't want to spoil too much of it, but that was a very fun one. So let's put these back. Moving right along with comedy here, now we have Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This is, I believe, an 80s movie, and this is the Criterion Collection. So you can see it's got this checkerboard cover, which is pretty cool. And that's another good comedy. It's not like the most amazing movie I've ever seen. It's good, and I watched it recently in the past year or so, and yeah, it's decent. The Graduate with Dustin Hoffman, a comedy from the 60s, I believe, and That one's a classic. A lot of these are classics. Then we have Groundhog Day. This is a steelbook with Bill Murray on the cover where he's trapped in this clock. And then on the back you have a groundhog, and it's got a blue pattern with this blue color with the snow, and that's what the inside looks like. So that is a pretty nice looking steelbook there. And then we have Hocus Pocus, which I rewatched recently, and I think I gave this like 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. I don't really think this movie's that good. The plot, the characters, it's nothing to write home about, but a lot of people really enjoy it, but I just can't get behind the cheesiness on this one. I mean, it is cheesy and kind of fun, but it's also really not that good. But that's Hocus Pocus. I still own it there. Hot Rod. This is a really fun one with Andy Samberg, and I believe it was produced by Lorne Michaels from SNL. And this is a super quotable movie with super off-the-wall, bizarre humor. And that one's just really fun, for sure, Hot Rod. And then you have Mean Girls, continuing with the 2000s comedies. Mean Girls, I've seen this twice now. I saw it once in high school, and I saw this with my parents when I owning the Blu-ray now. So, yeah, that one's a classic too. Again, very quotable, very iconic, very classic by this point. Next we have Superbad. Superbad, this is one of my favorite comedies actually. I've watched it a couple times in recent years, and kind of like The Breakfast Club, aside from being just really funny, super hilarious, it also has an emotional core with the main two characters, Jonah Hill and Michael Cera, and their relationship, and that kind of going from high school to college and the stressors of their relationship. So, Superbad, very good one. Wayne's World. This is a 4K with a slipcover, and I really like the cover of that. You can see it's very colorful, with purples and blues and reds. Very interesting cover there for Wayne's World. Wedding Crashers. I watched this one recently. It's okay. It's fine. It's good. It's got good moments. I like Vince Vaughn especially, just like I like him in Dodgeball. So, Wedding Crashers. Napoleon Dynamite. Definitely a cult classic by this point. This one it's weird, it's wacky, it's odd, it's unique, it's one of a kind, that's for sure. And I did watch this recently, and that was very fun. I think I gave it 4 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. And then you have Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Now these next couple movies are like my holiday movies, so they're kind of comedy, but also like a holiday section. So if you've never seen this is a John Hughes movie, and it's a Thanksgiving movie. It takes place on Thanksgiving, where Steve Martin is trying to get home to his family, and tons of things go wrong with his traveling. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong. And this is a really good one. I've seen it a couple times now. Very enjoyable. And then I have just a few more here that are just like holiday movies. So Nightmare Before Christmas. That one's obviously very beloved. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Silly, goofy, dumb fun. Well, I guess this should be next. Home Alone 1, which I truly love this movie. I think it's just wonderful. Home Alone 1. So many great moments and a really touching holiday and family movie. And then you got Elf with Will Ferrell, this is another 4K. So the Home Alone, that was a 4K, and the Elf, this is also a 4K. Really fun holiday comedy with Will Ferrell. Okay, moving along past comedy, now we're going into one of my favorite genres, horror. Horror and sci-fi I love to death. So comedy is fun, but this for me, we're getting into some really good stuff here. So let's check it out. So to begin, we got 1408. 1408 with John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson a little bit, but mainly John Cusack. This is kind of an underrated, very good Stephen King adaptation. It's really solid, honestly. It's a good movie. I've seen it 2 times in recent years. 1408. Doesn't get much better than that. The original Alien, I have seen this 4 times now. I know it like the back of my hand. It's an incredible movie, and of course, I love to say that I own it on 4K. Not the biggest fan of this cover. I think it's fine. It's kind of cool, but anyways, that's Alien, 1979, Ridley Scott. One of the best movies ever, honestly. And then, this is very cool. The Aliens 30th Anniversary Edition Blu-ray. You can see Ridley and Newt on the cover. They're right there. And then the mother alien, mama, whatever you want to call her, big mama alien next to them. And this is the 30th Anniversary Edition anniversary. So that's what the Blu-ray cover looks like. And then it's also got like a little booklet in there, as well as these art cards with like really cool illustrations. The weird thing about this though is, despite having such amazing packaging, the Blu-ray on here is only 1 disc and it doesn't have that many special features. So the packaging is amazing, but the Blu-ray and the special features, it's just 1 disc, so not really that great there on the special features. The art cards came in this little package here. I keep this package, this cardboard. Then you have AVP, Alien vs. Predator. This is just dumb fun. Not really a great movie, but it is enjoyable, that's for sure. So AVP. And then you got Alien Covenant. I rewatched the whole franchise recently, 2nd time watching the franchise, and some of them I've seen more than 2 times. This one's not so great, honestly. It continues the problems of Prometheus, of having a lot of unanswered weird questions, and the lore doesn't really make sense. And also the characters make a lot of stupid decisions. And there's some really distracting, not so good CGI. So that one's okay. Really not that great. But yeah. Next we have Annabelle Creation. This is like the only Annabelle movie that's actually good. The other 2 kind of suck, honestly. Annabelle and Annabelle Comes Home. But Annabelle Creation, not bad at all, honestly. Arachnophobia, crazy spider movie from the 90s with Jeff Daniels. Pretty fun movie right there. The Babadook, or Babadook, however you say it. I love this one. I love the Babadook. Babadook, Duke. That's a really good one. I should rewatch that, but I love Babadook. Black Phone with Ethan Hawke. I like this one a lot too, honestly. I thought it was very good, especially for Blumhouse. I believe this is Blumhouse. Black Phone Ethan Hawke is a very good villain, and the child actors did a good job. The story has some good themes to it, and it all ties up very nicely in the end. So that was a good one, Black Phone. I've seen that twice. I watched once in theaters, and I watched the Blu-ray once. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. This is Gen Z horror. It's got a lot of Gen Z slang and Gen Z people behaving in the way Gen Z does, and it kind of hits you over the head with its message. It's kind of satirical, kind of a parody, a little bit horror comedy, but it's decent. It's fine. So that's that. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Next we have The Cabin in the Woods. The Cabin in the Woods. This one is, again, a good horror comedy. Pretty fun one. Definitely a crazy ending on that one. Child's Play. This is the only one I've seen in the Child's Play franchise. I do plan on watching this franchise soon. This year I'm going to watch the rest of them, but this one I have seen, the first one. I love when he says batter up. Super funny. He's got some very funny lines delivered in a specific way from that actor. And then Cloverfield, the first Cloverfield, a very good found footage one by what? Yeah, this was by Matt Reeves. I'm checking on the back there. So, Cloverfield, really cool one. The Conjuring, a 3-film collection. So this is Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2, both of which are pretty great. And then The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is just okay. But yeah, that's a 3-film collection there. And something you'll see me do a lot as we go through this collection, when it has 3 or 4 or 5 or however many discs in one little Blu-ray package, I often put the discs in CD cases because I don't trust the holders in here. It barely holds onto the discs when it has a lot of discs to hold onto. So I feel better just putting them in their own CD cases. So I have one disc in here that's secure and 2 other secure discs in the CD cases. Next we have Dark Water. This is by the guy who directed The Ring, whatever that's called, Ringu, I guess, the original Japanese version of The Ring, which I haven't seen. I have seen the American version many times, and I own that one on digital. I love that movie. But this is another one by that Japanese director, Hideo Nakata. I've seen this twice now. I think it's pretty good, honestly. Definitely continues some of the creepy things from The Ring with scary little Japanese girls, but a good Japanese horror, and it's an Arrow video. Very nice case and presentation there. Dark Water. Stephen King's Doctor Sleep. This was a Mike Flanagan movie. I saw it once before I owned the Blu-ray, so I need to rewatch this one, but that's a Mike Flanagan one, so it can't be that bad, I guess. Then you got Evil Dead 2 on 4K. Evil Dead 2. What can you say about Evil Dead? I mean, that's an amazing franchise right there. So, love it. Evil Dead 2. Army of Darkness. I still have the sticker for the price over that, but this is a Blu-ray edition, and I bought that earlier this year, but then later this year I bought the 4K, and I kind of want to keep them both because I like the covers of both of them. Even though they're the same cover, this is white in the background and this one has black, I still really like this. So this is the Army of Darkness 4K from Scream Factory or Shout Factory, however you want to call that boutique company. And this 4K it came with 4 discs, so just like with The Conjuring, I put all the discs in CD cases because I just don't trust those Blu-ray cases to hold that many discs. And Army of Darkness, of course, is hilarious and a very good entry. All the Evil Dead movies are good, and I enjoy all of those. So yeah. Next, you have Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead remake from 2012 or 13 or 14, whenever that was. This is a wild movie. Very good, very fun. Evil Dead Rise, they're all good. All the Evil Dead movies are good. So that's Evil Dead Rise, the most recent one, where they got out of the cabin and went into the city for a change of pace. The Final Destination. This is the fourth Final Destination movie. I don't know why I own this. I bought it before I had seen them all, and this is the worst of the franchise, and many fans agree. So really not a good movie. I'll probably just keep the digital and get rid of that Blu-ray. But that's Final Destination 4. Pretty terrible movie. Final Destination 5. A decent entry into the franchise, and the most recent one. And yeah, it's a good one. Final Destination 5. And then we got the original Friday the 13th, and it comes in this white Blu-ray case for some reason, which is kind of cool and unique. And so that's Friday the 13th. I have seen all those movies. I watched the whole franchise for the first time last year. And this one's fine. You know, it's not my favorite in the franchise, but it's fine. Next, you got Friday the 13th Part 2, which is obviously the second movie in the Friday the 13th, when they introduced Jason in his baghead form. And then Friday the 13th, the 2009, I believe it was, remake. And this one I enjoy quite a lot. This is a pretty good one. So, yeah. I know some fans really don't like this one, but some of the critics, like Sean Chandler and Cody Leach, both seem to like this, and I agree with them. This was a good remake. The Fly, classic David Cronenberg body horror. What can you say about that? That's amazing. The cover's kind of lame here. It's just black with a fly there, but The Fly. This one I haven't seen yet, but this is a very cool edition. This is The Fog, John Carpenter's The Fog. I've never seen it, but I bought it because I want to see John Carpenter movies, and this is a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray from, I don't know if it's Scream Factory. I guess it's Shout Factory, but it says Scream Factory on here, so I don't know. A Shout Factory 4K Steelbook with a very cool cover there. That's The Fog. And then we got Ghostbusters on 4K, classic. And then another iconic classic, doesn't get much better than that, John Carpenter's Halloween, the original 1978 Halloween. I have seen that whole franchise as well, the Halloween franchise, and some of the discs for Halloween there. Then you got Halloween from the most recent trilogy, the David Gordon Green one. This was like the only pretty decent one. Honestly, Halloween Kills I don't even think is that bad as people say, but Halloween Ends is terrible. This one's pretty good though, the 2018 Halloween from David Gordon Green. Then you got It, Stephen King's It, the 1990s miniseries. I saw this definitely over 5 years ago or so, so it's due for a rewatch, but that's a pretty good one. Then Malignant, I bought this pretty recently. James Wan, very fun, campy, crazy B-movie horror from James Wan, and this movie is just so fun. I've only seen it once. I definitely need to rewatch one or two more times, but I have a Blu-ray. I have the Blu-ray, so I can do that. Malignant, super fun. Megan, another fun one recently about the killer doll and with messages about technology and the dangers of AI. I didn't think this was like incredible, but it was certainly a good time. Megan, or M3gan. Pearl, I love this movie. This is a great character study. My favorite from the Ty West trilogy, which just completed this year with Maxine, which I thought was the worst one. But Pearl, that is fantastic. I love Mia Goth. I love her performance. I love the kills and the Technicolor feeling and the era, the cinematography. But the character study is very impressive in that. And then X, which is good, a good continuation from Pearl, and pretty enjoyable. Okay, so after X, we have Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, the first Psycho movie. This is actually a franchise, a pretty good franchise, honestly. But the first Psycho movie, Psycho, is an absolute masterpiece, perfect movie, amazing twist ending, which isn't as satisfying on rewatch, obviously, but I think I've seen it 3 times now. I love Psycho. It is amazing. Ready or Not, the filmmakers who made this recently made Abigail this year. Both movies are very fun and very bloody, and this was a good one with Samara Weaving. Rosemary's Baby, classic horror movie, classic movie there. Saw, the first Saw. I rewatched the Saw franchise. Well, not rewatch. I watched it for the first time this year. I had only seen 1 and 10, so I saw the whole franchise this year, and it's like not my favorite franchise or anything, but it's fine. It's very gory, obviously, but the first one is not super gory, but that's a really good one. Saw. And then I also have Saw X or Saw 10, which I also think is pretty great. Those are 2 of the best ones there. Now we're getting into the Scream movies. I have the first Scream on this 4K HD UHD steelbook with just a black cover and the knife with Ghostface reflection in the knife. Pretty cool cover, honestly. And you open it up, you can see Drew Barrymore is screaming there. Screaming. She's screaming in the Scream movie. And then I actually own the whole Scream franchise, believe it or not. So this is Scream 2, which I love this cover with the 2 red faces. I think that is so cool, the cover of that. So that is Scream 2, another good one. Oops. Scream 3 here. Scream 3, I think the cover for this is kind of not so great. And this is the worst of the franchise, but honestly, it's not that bad. I'm rewatching it now. I just watched half of this movie this morning. So, Scream 3, I'm doing a rewatch of that whole franchise. Scream 4. Scream 5, which they just called Scream. Not so crazy about this floating head cover, but that's Scream 5. And the most recent one, Scream 6. These new ones, 5 and 6, obviously the main characters being Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. So, Scream, pretty good franchise in my opinion. They don't really have any bad movies. I mean, even their worst one, Scream 3, is not absolutely terrible. There's many franchises that have way worse movies, like Alien. The Alien franchise has Alien vs. Predator's Requiem. They have Alien Resurrection. Those both pretty terrible. Friday the 13th, there's a lot of terrible movies. Some, not a lot, but some really terrible ones. Halloween, some really terrible ones. So Scream franchise, Evil Dead franchises, those are both all quality movies, honestly. And then you have the movie Smile from 2022, which this is a 4K, and we're getting a Smile 2 later this year. I think that'll probably be in October in spooky season. Almost done with my horror. God, I can't say the word horror. Almost done with my horror section here. So now we got Terrifier 2, a super bloody, super gory movie. I only saw it once in theaters. I have yet to watch this Blu-ray, but looking forward to it nonetheless. Terrifier 2. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. I haven't seen the whole franchise, but I have seen this original movie. It's pretty great. John Carpenter's The Thing. I would love to watch this a couple more times. Really awesome having it on 4K. I mean, the practical effects in this movie are like unparalleled. Like, they are the best of the best. It's so good. So good. What a movie. Train to Busan, a Korean, I think it's Korean, zombie movie, which is, I gotta rewatch this, but I own it on 4K, so I look forward to rewatching that. Underworld, very fun vampire movie from the 2000s, super stylized, super fun. Underworld, I watched that for the first time this year. And then you have Underworld Evolution, the second one. I bought this recently and I have never seen it. In my whole collection of 306 movies, there are about 8 to 10 that I haven't seen before. And recently that number was as high as 30 movies. But in 2024, I watched all 30 of those. And then I bought about 10 more that I haven't seen yet. So this one, Underworld Evolution, I bought recently and I haven't seen yet, but it has a very cool Blu-ray case with this village that's burning and a guy on a horseback. It's probably referencing the movie. Actually, my friend said it is referencing the movie, but I haven't seen it, but it's a very cool steelbook. I love that. And next, I'm about to move on to the superhero collection, superhero movies. But I do just want to talk about these four that were right down here because they're kind of their own section, and it's a very small section, so we'll just talk about that real quick. I have The Last Waltz. This is a Criterion. These are like music documentaries. The Last Waltz, this is a Martin Scorsese film, and it's Criterion Collection, and it's about the band that was called The Band from the 60s and 70s, and it's their last concert, and it's really good stuff. The Last Waltz, another good one. Bob Dylan, Don't Look Back, a 60s documentary about Bob Dylan, probably in his most iconic phase in the mid-60s, and he really acts like such a dick to some of the journalists in this movie, but it's a very good documentary. So Bob Dylan, Don't Look Back, another Criterion one, and that's like a paper one. I don't know if you can see that, but that's Don't Look Back. And then a more recent one, David Bowie. This is Moon Age Daydream. I saw this in theaters. I haven't watched the Blu-ray yet, but I love Bowie, so I gotta have that. And then this, I don't know if this is a music documentary or what, but it's Purple Rain by Prince. Maybe it's like a rock opera. I don't know. I have never seen it. I don't know a lot about Prince, but I bought this randomly at Barnes & Noble recently. So that's that. Now we're going to move on to superhero stuff, which is all the way over here. So I have the whole MCU, and I have it ordered by phase 1, 2, 3, and 4. And yeah, I used to have every MCU movie, but I became less of a fan as time went on, and I started to be exposed to more movies and a lot more interesting movies too. And I just didn't feel like I needed to own them all physically, so I kept the ones that I like. I still have a big chunk of the MCU, but not everything. The ones I don't own, I probably do own on digital because they had the digital codes with the Blu-ray. So first we have Iron Man. Not really going to talk about these a lot, but these are all 4K. Iron Man, that's a good one. Thor, we're still in phase 1 here. Iron Man, Thor. Then you had Captain America, the first Avenger. Maybe this is a good Marvel refresher for you of the phase 1. Then you had The Avengers, the first Avengers movie. And then you have Iron Man 3. After that, you have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Really good one there, one of my favorites. Another amazing one, Guardians of the Galaxy. The Avengers, Age of Ultron. The first Ant-Man, really the only good Ant-Man movie in the Ant-Man trilogy, I'll be honest with you. Captain America, Civil War. And then you got Doctor Strange. Moving along here, we got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I like. A lot of people don't like that one, but I think it's fine. Guardians of the Galaxy, it's a really good trilogy, and Volume 2 is not that bad, honestly. Again, great soundtrack, pretty good characters, maybe a weak villain, but Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok. I think we're in phase 3 now, I want to say. Yeah, phase 3. Black Panther. These ones, phase 3 was really good, man. Avengers Infinity War, a movie I've seen countless times. I've seen it many times in Spanish with Spanish audio because I like to practice my Spanish that way. I'm about to start a job as an interpreter, a medical interpreter, speaking English and between English and Spanish. So, yeah. So I do a lot of Spanish. And Avengers Endgame, again with a bunch of floating head people on the cover, and that's just the bonus disc to Endgame, the bonus features. Quite a lot of superhero movies here. Spider-Man Far From Home. These are all 4K, which is nice. Black Widow. This one is not really that good. I might get rid of this, honestly. Black Widow. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. That one has really good action, and the cover's pretty cool to that. I don't know if you can see, it's a slip cover, and it's got some parts that kind of jut out, like bump out from the cover, and they're kind of shiny. Spider-Man No Way Home. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. This one, again, just like Guardians 2, I like this more than most people. I like the Sam Raimi touches. I don't think it was really that bad. Honestly, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, not that bad. Wakanda Forever, Black Panther 2, or Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And then the most recent one, well, besides, I guess, Deadpool and Wolverine was from this year, but from last year, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, super dark for the MCU and super emotional. I love this one, honestly. Then we got some DC stuff. We got Aquaman on Blu-ray, which I have seen once, and The Batman from Matt Reeves. I fucking love this movie, man. The cinematography, the acting, the score. I've listened to that score many times. I love this movie. I saw it 3 times in theaters, probably 2 times at home. This was one of the first Blu-rays I bought because I started my collection in 2022, and I just freaking love this movie. I love Matt Reeves. I love Robert Pattinson. The 4K disc looks amazing, and this is just probably a special features disc. Moving on with Batman, we have the Dark Knight trilogy, which comes in this little box here, and so you got Batman Begins. You got The Dark Knight, a movie which I've probably seen like 10 times. I feel like I know every line and every scene of The Dark Knight. It's a perfect movie. And The Dark Knight Rises. And for some reason I bought this on Amazon, and the case has the titles in English and then French. So I guess it's the French region version of the movies, but the movies are still with English, but yeah, it's like a French Blu-ray. And then these are just the special features discs from the Dark Knight stuff. Moving along here with superheroes, we got Wesley Snipes. This is Blade 2. That one is super bloody and super fun. And then I got a Deadpool 2 movie collection, which has Deadpool and Deadpool 2. I'll show you the covers if I can take it out here. That's Deadpool. And that's Deadpool 2. And then for some reason, Deadpool 2 has 4 extra discs with like different cuts and different features, and I don't even know. It's kind of weird because I don't really like Deadpool 2 that much, but there's a bunch of extra stuff. Zack Snyder's Justice League on 4K, a 4-hour long epic movie that is pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, Hellboy on 4K, and one of the best X-Men and best superhero movies ever, Logan, on 4K. Okay, next we have the Spider-Man trilogy. So this is just one box that holds all 3 movies. And like I do for everything, when it's like that, I put the movies in the CD cases. So yeah, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Pretty awesome trilogy. Sam Raimi is the man. Those movies are great. What can I say? Spider-Man 3 is like not that great, but 1 and 2 are amazing. And speaking of amazing, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, come on, that's a perfect movie. And Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I think these are both 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10 perfect movies. I don't know about you guys, but Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, when that came out, I saw that 4 times in theaters in 2023. And I haven't watched it completely since because I feel like I saw it so much that it was a little crazy. But I do own this 4K. I think it's an awesome cover, and I look forward to rewatching that and also showing it to people. I want to show it to my parents. I saw it in theaters once with my dad, but I want my mom to see it. I'd like my sister to see it. I want to show that movie to everyone because it is a masterpiece. Then you have The Suicide Squad by James Gunn, which was just a great time, honestly. Wonder Woman. I don't know what to say about that one. That's Wonder Woman. And then X-Men Days of Future Past, one of the better X-Men movies. And so that about wraps up the superheroes God, I can't talk today. Superheroes section. And then we'll move on to, I have a few TV shows, animated movies, and we'll get into the other sections. So stick around with me here, and yeah, we'll keep going. Okay, I shifted over a little bit here so I can access these animated movies and other things here. So if you're still with me, thank you for sticking around, and let's keep going here. So first I have a couple TV series, anime. We have Cowboy Bebop, which I've only actually watched half the show before. I need to watch the whole thing. I'm very bad with TV shows. I honestly have barely watched any TV in 2023 and 2024. But this is a classic anime, of course. It's many people's favorite. And here's the discs. So Cowboy Bebop. And then my personal favorite anime of all time, this is Death Note. Death Note, I love Death Note. It's so intellectual, such a great cat and mouse detective versus killer, and it's just incredible. I love the game of chess between Light and L, and it's just an incredible series. I've seen it, the whole series, twice, and here's all the discs, which have a little apple. And while I'm on the subject of Death Note, I want to show you something I have on top of the shelves here, which you can't see, but I'll bring it down for you. This is my Ryuk figure from Death Note. It's an action figure, or just model, or whatever you want to call it, and it costs $70. It's really amazing. It's got really good detail on the wings. It's hefty. It's got some weight to it, and I just love this thing. It seems like it was built with care, and it's not cheap. It's a really good action figure, and he watches over my collection. So that's Death Note, and that's my Ryuk figure. And then the third anime series I own is Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion. And I mean, that's an amazing show too, of course. And here's all the discs for that. Oh, and this also includes the Evangelion movies, including the end of Evangelion. I don't know how to say it. The end of Evangelion, which is an amazing movie. Then we're getting into some Studio Ghibli. I have the animation movies kind of ordered a little bit alphabetical, a little bit by studio. So with Ghibli, we start off with Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, which is a very cool early Ghibli movie. My Neighbor Totoro. These are all Blu-rays. My Neighbor Totoro. And my personal favorite Ghibli, and one of my favorites of all time, Princess Mononoke. A perfect movie, Princess Mononoke. I've seen that many times, and I love everything about it. Then we have Spirited Away, and it's in this red steelbook. I'm not so crazy about the steelbook cover, honestly. It's a little too plain and too minimal for me. So It's a great film, Spirited Away, but maybe I'll just get the regular Blu-ray. But yeah, there's Spirited Away. And then this Blu-ray, this is a 4K of Coraline. I think the cover of that is just beautiful. It's got Coraline and the doll, and on the back it has the other mother. Maybe I'll open it up so you can see like that. Coraline, really good movie. And then the Coraline and this one are both from Leica Studios, which does animation, stop motion animation. So this is Kubo and the Two Strings, another really good one, and a beautiful cover. There's the back. That's another 4K steelbook from Shout Factory. And then Alice in Wonderland, the original Disney movie from the 50s. A Charlie Brown Christmas. And this has multiple Charlie Brown short movies in there. Coco from Disney Pixar. Coco. Coco is a pretty good one for sure. Alright, that's just gonna keep falling over. So, Coco. And then we have Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo, which I haven't seen in many years, but of course these are Pixar classics we all love. And some other things mixed in there, because now this is DreamWorks How to Train Your Dragon 3-movie collection. I have seen all 3 of those, and they're all good. It's not like my favorite trilogy in the world or anything, but it's enjoyable. The Lego Movie. I feel like I'm saying that for everything. I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's good. This movie's good. Or this is a class. I mean, because it's my own collection, so obviously I like everything I own here. If I don't like it, I usually don't own it, or I just own it on digital. Puss in Boots, the first Puss in Boots. That one's okay. I don't know if I'll hang on to that. But Puss in Boots The Last Wish is pretty awesome. And that's a 4K Ultra, 4K, whatever, 4K disc. And I really like the cover of that with the blue and orange complementary colors and all the characters. That's a really nice one. Moving along here, we got Shrek on 4K. Shrek. Not much to say there. Everyone loves Shrek. Most people love Shrek 2 as well. Also 4K. Shrek 2's got some really funny stuff. Toy Story, the first Toy Story, which is actually only 80 minutes long, but I mean, what do you say about these? We all love this stuff. Toy Story 2 with the yellow cover, and the first cover was purple. And then Toy Story 3 has a green cover, and that's, again, 4K. And then I also have Toy Story 4, which kind of doesn't have... The cover's different than the other 3, but that's Toy Story 4, which is a little controversial. I think some people really don't like Toy Story 4. Some people do, but a lot of people say 3 was the perfect ending, but I don't think Toy Story 4 is that bad. And then my last 2 from the animation section would be Up. We have Disney Pixar's Up. I'll put that back there. And then this is really cool. This is WALL-E from the Criterion Collection. And this is perhaps Pixar's best movie. This is a really cool disc. You can see WALL-E is there amongst the trash. And then you open it up and it's got all the discs there and a little booklet. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful Criterion release of Pixar's Maybe their best movie. I'd have to rewatch Ratatouille, but Wall-E is pretty damn amazing. I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. So yeah, and now we'll move into this other section, which is like action movies and drama and anything that doesn't fit into any of the other sections. So really just general movies. Okay, so moving along here, we got GoldenEye 007 GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan, and this was by Martin Campbell, who also directed Casino Royale. So Martin Campbell has directed two of the best Bond movies, because this is definitely the best Pierce Brosnan one, and it's a really good action movie right there, GoldenEye. Then we have the Daniel Craig 5 film collection. So these are all Daniel Craig's Bond movies: Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die. And for me, Casino Royale and Skyfall are perfect 5 out of 5. Amazing movies. Spectre and No Time to Die, not that bad. Quantum of Solace is terrible. It's really bad. The action is horrible. The story is not that good. It does a shaky cam, quick editing on the action, but Casino Royale and Skyfall are like chef's kiss, perfect. And then I also own No Time to Die, just the regular 4K of that, which I bought before that 5 disc collection. And something I didn't mention, when I do buy collections like this, I'm trying not to actually do that as much anymore, to buy these collections, because I like to kind of own the cover art for each thing individually if I can. And that's something I kind of realized recently. So I don't know how many more times I'll keep buying collections like that, but these are all the discs for the Daniel Craig James Bond. Moving along here, we got 1917, a war movie that was nominated for Best Picture by Sam Mendes, and it has Roger Deakins, the cinematographer, and they did it in that style where it's a continuous one take. So that's kind of a unique movie right there. A Star is Born, very tragic, also kind of heartwarming, but tragic movie. A Star is Born. I like that one a lot. Bad Boys. This is fun. It's a good time. I don't think it's like amazing, and I haven't seen the whole franchise, but that's the first Bad Boys. The Bourne Collection, another complete collection, 5 movies. So I'm going to have to look at the disc because these movies have long titles. The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Supremacy is the second one. The Bourne Ultimatum, that's a great trilogy right there, and I love The Bourne Ultimatum. That movie is fantastic. The Bourne Legacy, where they had Jeremy Renner for some reason, and then Jason Bourne, the most recent one, and then a bonus disc. Castaway with Tom Hanks. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, an amazing martial arts film. I can't wait to rewatch that, especially on 4K. Die Hard, classic. How many times have I said classic in this video? Drive with Ryan Gosling. Drive, a fun little, I guess that's a thriller, I don't know. The Godfather on 4K. I think The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2 are very good. I have The Godfather Part 2. For me, they're not like the most amazing movies of my life, or I get why they're highly regarded, but for me, they're good. I'm not that big on mobster, gangster movies. I actually like Scarface better than The Godfather stuff, but still good movies, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna go out here and call them the best of all time. Next we have The Green Knight, which is an A24 movie with Dev Patel, and that's got a 4K release there. La Haine or La Haine, I don't know how to speak French, but that means hatred in French, I believe. And this is, I think, number 15 on the Letterboxd Top 250. I watched it recently for the first time and gave a perfect 5 out of 5. This is a Criterion Collection movie. Pretty phenomenal movie in just everything, the story, the acting, the filmmaking on display. Amazing movie. Okay, that's Lahaine. Harry Potter 8-disc 4K collection. You can see that is young Harry, and of course this thing holds all 8 discs, but like, why would you want to hold the discs like that? It barely holds it. So I put them all on CD cases, but that's the 4K, and then it also came with Blu-rays. These cases are pretty cool because there's no words. It's just like images and imagery from Harry Potter. So this one you have Sirius, you have Dumbledore, you have the Goblet of Fire. Pretty cool. And then of course here's all the in the CD cases for Harry Potter. I also keep this birthday card, this Harry Potter birthday card I got. Looks like it's from a couple years ago when I turned 28. I'm 30 now, but I just think that's cute. It says, "You make life magical." So I'm pretty into Harry Potter. I like Harry Potter. It's just comforting for me. And then I have Harry Potter, The Order of the Phoenix, also on Blu-ray. Now, again, like I said, I kind of want to have the cover art for each one, so I may go out and buy all of them eventually. But this, just so I can have each one in its own case. But that's Order of the Phoenix there. I think that was one of the first Blu-rays I ever bought. And then all the Harry Potter movies also have the Blu-rays here. And then I've got Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And I don't have the other Fantastic Beasts movies because they suck. And then I got Heat, which is an incredible movie. Heat. You should see that if you haven't. Go watch Heat. John Wick, the first John Wick. John Wick 2. All the John Wicks are pretty good, honestly. John Wick 3, and I don't own John Wick 4 yet, but that's those 3. Okay, so after John Wick, we have the Lord of the Rings trilogy on 4K. You can see a ring on the cover and the Tower of Sauron, and I think it's Sauron, and the Mordor in general. Lord of the Rings, classic, amazing cinema of the highest degree. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. And then here's all the discs, and it has the original trilogy on 4K, and then the extended editions each take up 2 discs because they're so long, but that means they're committed to quality with this. And I've seen the original ones many times. I have to watch the extended editions some more. I'm not sure if I've ever even seen all the extended editions, but that's Lord of the Rings. Moving on here, we've got... Can you stay, please? We've got Love, Simon, which is a cute little coming of age story and a gay story about a boy in high school who's coming out as gay. That's a good one. Knives Out, classic, very good mystery movie. And Marriage Story, one of my favorite ones from 2019. I think this movie is fantastic. In fact, when I was in grad school recently for interpreting and translation. I took the scene from this where they're fighting in one of my classes and I wrote a paper about it for discourse analysis. So I looked at it through the lens of discourse analysis and talked about the language they used and the way they used it. And this is a really cool Criterion edition with, if I open it up, you can see Nicole there and then Charlie, and that's really awesome. I think I've yet to watch this Criterion disc. I have seen it, I think, at least once, and I've, of course, played that scene a bunch of times when I was writing my paper, but Men in Black is the next one. Mission Impossible 1 from Brian De Palma. Next we have Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol, which has the Burj Khalifa scene where he's hanging off the building, and an extra disc there. Mission Impossible 5, what the heck is that one called? Rogue Nation. All the Mission Impossibles are pretty good, but Mission Impossible 6, Mission Impossible Fallout is the best one, and just an incredible action movie. One of the best action movies ever. And, ooh, I gotta put these discs. This has 3 discs in here, so I should put it in a CD case. Moneyball with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. And Moonlight. Truly an incredible movie, Moonlight, from A24. One of my favorite A24 movies. One of my favorite Oscar Best Picture winners. It really deserved the Best Picture that year. It's truly a masterpiece. Then we have Jake Gyllenhaal being weird as hell in Nightcrawler. He's super unhinged, super creepy, super insane. That is a wild ride of a movie, Nightcrawler. Nobody, which is kind of a John Wick spin-off kind of movie. It's not connected to John Wick, but it's the same style of movie about a guy getting revenge and kicking ass. The Northman, speaking of getting revenge and kicking ass, Robert Eggers has no misses in his filmography. He's an amazing director, and Northman looks really good on 4K. Paddington 1, very adorable movie, and even better, we have Paddington 2. Yeah, Paddington 2 was the better movie, but the first one's not bad. It's kind of just like Puss in Boots. Like, the first one was fine, and the second one is awesome. Oops, okay. Next we have Parasite, a masterpiece. I saw it 3 or 4 times the year it came out, so that's another really good Best Picture winner where it absolutely deserved it, in my opinion. Then you got Past Lives. This was my favorite movie from 2023, an A24 movie from director Celine Song. It was her directorial debut. A beautiful, passionate, heartbreaking movie, and a very realistic romance movie. I love this movie. I think it's fantastic. Pirates of the Caribbean on 4K. Now, I've heard some reviews on YouTube and elsewhere that this 4K disc is a really bad transfer, but it does have a Blu-ray and a digital code here, luckily. So if I don't like the 4K, I have other viewing options, but still a great movie, Pirates of the Caribbean. James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, a classic movie from the 50s. And Al Pacino in Scarface. Again, I like Scarface more than the Godfather movies. I just love the downfall of this character. It's so well done. Then we got Selma. Not much to say about that. That's Selma. The Shawshank Redemption. Everyone knows that's a very highly acclaimed movie. Singing in the Rain. One of the best of the 1950s and one of the best musicals of all time. Really good. To Kill a Mockingbird. That is just a powerful story about racism and kind of a morality tale. Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick. And then you got The Usual Suspects. The Usual Suspects. And lastly, Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz on 4K. And then you might see a few other things over here. These are just some empty CD cases. Now, we're getting towards the end of the video. I want to thank you for sticking with me this whole time. The last two sections are Sci Fi, which is right here and here. And then over here you got movies by specific directors who I picked out, like Wes Anderson, Tim Burton, Alfonso Cuarón, Kubrick, Scorsese, blah, blah, blah. And there's also some video games down there, PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. I'm not going to show those, but yeah, you've made it this far. Thank you for sticking around. So now we will get into the final two sections. So, like I said in the beginning of this video, sci-fi and horror are my favorite genres. I believe they're super creative, those genres. They, like sci-fi has to build a world and let you into that world and make rules and do world building, and I love that about sci-fi. And horror is great because it can tell a story, really powerful stories in all sorts of creative ways, and it gives you the adrenaline of the fear as well, being scared. So horror is great too. But anyways, I'll get back to the movies here. 12 Monkeys by Terry Gilliam. This is a total mindfuck of a movie, and well, I don't know. Well, it's a pretty big mindfuck. This one leaves you thinking, that's for sure. 12 Monkeys, very good one. And this is an Arrow video. I love the Arrow video stuff and Shout Factory and all that. Ad Astra with Brad Pitt. A very kind of thoughtful, cerebral, relaxing kind of movie. And definitely a character study. Then you got Akira. Back to the mindfuck stuff. This movie is absolutely nuts. I've only seen it once. I feel like I should watch it 3 more times if I really want to understand it, and watch a lot of YouTube analysis videos and stuff like that. These are some extra discs for Akira. Avatar, the first Avatar on 4K. And The Day After Tomorrow, a fun little disaster movie from Roland Emmerich. This came out in 2004, I believe. Let's see. Yeah. So I was born in 1994, so I was 10 years old when this came out. This movie, I was so obsessed with this when I was 10 years old. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I did like movies. I wasn't like huge into movies throughout my life. It's been more recent years, but this is a fun movie. I gotta rewatch that sometime. Then you got Back to the Future. The Back to the Future, they call it the Ultimate Trilogy here. And there's the case, and then it comes out, this little booklet comes out. And you would keep the 4K discs in there, but I keep them in the CD cases. But if you want to see, there's Marty McFly there, and the DeLorean on the back. Those are fun movies. And then here's all the discs for that. Back to the Future, 4K, Blu-ray. And then we've got District 9. District 9 is a really cool movie. Donnie Darko, very cerebral, very thought-provoking. Another Arrow video. and the first Dune movie, which I think is pretty awesome. What else we got here? I'm learning, I'm remembering what I have too. Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. I love my sci fi. Escape from New York. I watched this recently. It's a John Carpenter movie from the 80s, and it looks incredible. And Snake Plissken is a really badass character, but the sets, the way this movie looks, I mean, John Carpenter made some really good looking movies. So, Escape from New York, Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was the Best Picture winner in 2022, right? So a lot of people love this movie, me included. Ex Machina from Alex Garland. Is that his name? I'm checking the back. Yeah, Alex Garland. I've seen that once. And Ghost in the Shell, which I've seen twice. I would like to watch a couple more times. This is a really cool one. So you see she's like kind of human-ish here, the girl and her head and the gun. And then you open it up, boom, she's a cyborg. And beautiful colors on that case. I'll open it up and show you there and show you the back. Ghost in the Shell. I love movies that just can change the way you look at things and think about things and make you think really deeply and feel very deeply. And Ghost in the Shell absolutely does that. It provokes a lot of questions about what is a human, what is a machine, that kind of Blade Runner theme, and, well, just frankly, a theme that runs all throughout sci-fi about the differences between humans and machines and the nature of existence, and yeah, really good stuff. Moving along here, we got Ghost in the Shell, the one with Scarlett Johansson. This is one of the Blu-rays I haven't seen yet. Godzilla. This is a Gareth Edwards Godzilla. The Hunger Games on 4K. I've watched all the Hunger Games movies. They're fine. The first two are pretty good though. The Hunger Games Catching Fire is the second one. And this is a really cool case. Hunger Games Mockingjay. Not the greatest movie, but you open it up and there's a different design there. I love that blue case of that. Then we got Mockingjay Part 2. Another cool case with the white background and her with the red clothes there. Looper. An interesting one from Rain. Is that how you say his name? Rain Johnson. Looper. Mad Max, the first Mad Max. I gotta say, I'm not crazy about this one, the first Mad Max. I think the story's kind of messy. The characters are kind of boring. I watched it. I was bored recently when I watched this. I don't know. I still have to see the whole rest of the franchise, but of course I love Fury Road and I love Furiosa. But the first Mad Max, I was kind of disappointed. Here's Mad Max Fury Road. A perfect movie, one of the best action movies of the 2010s, and one of the best of all time, honestly. And then I have some discs here of The Matrix, which I'll show you the Blu-ray in a moment. So these are the 4K discs for The Matrix. And then we have the Matrix 4-disc collection. They call it the Deja Vu collection. And can you see that? So I love the first Matrix. Reloaded's pretty good. Revolution's not so great, but it's fine. And Resurrections I thought was okay too. So I'm not as harsh on the Matrix sequels as some people really don't like them, but I think they're fine. And yeah, again, it's sci-fi. I love sci-fi, and the Matrix is pretty cool. So this is a really great trilogy, the Planet of the Apes new trilogy. I haven't seen the old ones, but you can see Caesar on the back there on the horse, and Caesar's face on the front. And then let me open it up here. We got Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That was the first one. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That was the second one. And I really love this cover of him on the horseback. This is my favorite one. War for the Planet of the Apes. I think this movie is wonderful. Really cool case there. So that's the Planet of the Apes trilogy. And then we're getting towards the end of sci-fi here. We got Star Wars Rogue One, which has really great CGI, which is not something you say all the time. Star Wars A New Hope, or just the first Star Wars on 4K with that purple cover. And then you got The Empire Strikes Back, the second Star Wars movie, which many people call a masterpiece. I agree. And then Return of the Jedi, Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And those all have some extra discs of the special features. And then finishing up the sci-fi section, we have Star Wars The Force Awakens. We got The Last Jedi on 4K. And of course, no, I'm just kidding. I don't own Rise of Skywalker. I don't think I ever will. Pretty terrible movie. And this is really cool. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So just like the Ghost in the Shell case, we got the human face here with a little bit broken off there, and then underneath, complete cyborg. Very cool case. I love that. I'll show you the whole thing again here. That is a really cool case for Terminator 2. And that's the end of the sci-fi section. So we're almost done the video now. We just got 1.5 sections of the shelf there, and one section of the video, which is the movies by specific directors section. So that'll be the last part. And thank you for sticking around. Okay, moving on to the final section of the collection, which is directors. So starting off, we have Wes Anderson. We have The Royal Tenenbaums. That is a Criterion Blu-ray, and it's got like a drawing on the front. Royal Tenenbaums, very good one. The Life Aquatic, I don't know how I feel about this one. I'd have to rewatch, but these are all Criterion on my Wes Anderson. Life Aquatic. This one's really cool. Moonrise Kingdom. Moonrise Kingdom. I'll open this one up for you so you can see the boy and the girl there, all the other characters, and inside it's got some goodies with the discs. Moonrise Kingdom. That's probably my favorite Wes Anderson is Moonrise Kingdom. And the Grand Budapest Hotel, which has this blue cover, and you pull it out and it's pink, and it's got like an interior of the hotel there. Then we've got some Ari Aster. We've got Hereditary, which I think is an amazing horror movie, and Midsommar, which is not as good, but it's fine, I guess. Midsommar. I've got all his movies. I've got Beau is Afraid, which is super weird, super trippy, and a lot of fun, honestly. Then I've got The Seventh Seal, which is, I mean, that's cinema right there. That's about as good as it gets, by Ingmar Bergman. Seventh Seal, one of the best movies of all time. I don't have any other Bergman, but I have her. Is Bergman? I don't know. I have Bergman there in case I want more. Beetlejuice, Tim Burton. Then I've got Edward Scissorhands, which I like more than Beetlejuice. Sweeney Todd, another good one. And then The Corpse Bride, also Tim Burton. Now we're on Alfonso Cuarón, and we've got Gravity, which was with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. And then this one's a gorgeous Criterion Roma with that beautiful black and white cover, very minimal. And then you open it up and it's the Mexican woman, the cleaner woman, and the family at the beach. And wow, that's an amazing movie, Roma. And then Vertigo, which is Alfred Hitchcock. And I don't have any more Hitchcock, but he's there just in case. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Now we're on Kubrick. Stanley Kubrick. And The Shining. Both of those are just amazing, amazing movies. Then I've got a few other Kubrick here. Try and make sure that doesn't fall over. We've got Eyes Wide Shut. And we've got Full Metal Jacket. So far, I like every Kubrick movie I've seen. Then we got The Favorite, Yorgos Lanthimos, and that one was pretty good as well, with Emma Stone, Olivia Colman, and Rachel Weisz. Then Martin McDonagh, The Banshees of Inisherin, one of the best movies from 2022. A really good story in that movie, and it's tragic, but it is good. Inception, Christopher Nolan, Inception. We all love our Nolan stuff. Moving along with Nolan. Can you guys still see me here? I'm like trying not to move out of frame. Then we got Oppenheimer, the Best Picture winner from 2022, and kind of a cultural phenomenon with Oppenheimer and Barbenheimer. Some extra discs for Oppenheimer. Then we got Get Out, the debut from Jordan Peele, which I still love. I've seen it twice. But I like this even more than Get Out, which is Nope, Jordan Peele's third movie from 2022. This is 5 out of 5 stars for me. I love this movie. I think Jordan Peele has some amazing commentary on the world we live in and spectacle in that movie. And I just love everything about it. I think the themes work so well. So, Nope. Yeah, on 4K. And then Raging Bull from Scorsese. This is another Criterion one. Moving along with Scorsese, we've got Goodfellas, which I'm actually not so crazy about, I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of Goodfellas. And Wolf of Wall Street. Then we're on to Ridley Scott with Blade Runner, the final cut. I've seen this movie 4 or 5 times now. I mean, that's why I love sci-fi right there. That's everything you could ever dream of for a sci-fi fan. And I believe the Blade Runner has 4 discs total, or 3 in that. Black Hawk Down, another very, very good Ridley Scott one. There's no main character, but this just puts you in the situation and a lot of little instances of what's happening in this conflict situation, war, and it's incredible. Very well done, Black Hawk Down. Gladiator, another, we're still in Ridley Scott. And now on to Steven Spielberg with E.T. I've got a number of classic Spielberg ones here. So E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is a steelbook. Pretty sexy steelbook if you ask me, with the black and the brown, and wow, it's nice. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Jaws on 4K. We got Jaws. Can you see that? Then we got Saving Private Ryan. All these, I got a lot of Spielberg actually. And then one of my favorite Spielberg, I think this is a really cool movie, Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Very interesting sci-fi view of the future from Spielberg. Reservoir Dogs, Tarantino. Very, very cool movie there. And then Pulp Fiction, another Tarantino. But I like Reservoir Dogs even more, to be honest. And we're almost at the end here. Almost there. Inglourious Bastards, another Tarantino. I could definitely give that a rewatch. And then 2 new ones that I haven't seen here. Ivan's Childhood by Tarkovsky. I haven't seen it. I bought it. I was curious. I know Tarkovsky is very well regarded. Haven't seen it. Criterion. Solaris, or Solaris, I don't know how to say it. Another Tarkovsky. Haven't seen it, but I will soon enough. And then Villeneuve, we have Arrival, which is a very, very cool movie from Villeneuve. And then Blade Runner 2049, which is in my favorite 4 on Letterboxd, and one of my favorites of all time for sure. And that is a very good note to end on Blade Runner 49. Wow, my voice is going, but we made it. We made it through the whole collection. At the bottom there's also some PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch games, but that's obviously not part of the Blu-ray collection. So yeah, we made it. Actually, I know I said we're done, but I almost forgot. After Blade Runner 2049, there are a few more movies I have here. So this one I bought recently and watched recently is an Estonian movie. The title and the case is all in Estonian, but it does have English subtitles and an English menu you can choose. And the case is too big to fit vertically, so I had it lying horizontally on another shelf. It's called Dead Mountaineers Hotel. Someone on my Discord server, Movies and Filmmaking, recommended it to me, and I went ahead and bought the Blu-ray because it was very hard to get online. I had to buy it from the German version of Amazon. But very obscure, weird, cool movie called Dead Mountaineers Hotel from the 70s. And then I have a few more here that I'm probably going to give away soon. Kingsman, Golden Circle. I gave this 1.5 on Letterboxd. I absolutely hate this movie. I'm going to give it away. I don't need to own it. Not part. And then Hunger Games Catching Fire. This is the Blu-ray. I already showed you that I have the 4K earlier, so I'm going to get rid of this. And then I also have Rugrats 3 movie collection. I watched all these recently. I liked it a lot more when I was a kid, but honestly, the Rugrats movies, really nothing special, not that good. So I'm going to give those away as well. And that truly is the end of the collection. If you made it this far, I want to thank you for sticking through to the end. This has been a really great time talking about all 306 movies in my collection. Really, really enjoyable for me. I hope it's enjoyable for you. If you have any comments about my collection or want to tell me about your collection, any thoughts, leave them below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. So it's truly been a blast. I love to share about movies on here. I really, really enjoy that. So thank you for being with me today, and I will see you next time.